Hi Libra. Let me know if the volume is okay because I have a lot of Bluetooth devices around here, and I think that I have sufficiently placed them. But I have one more thing. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry, you guys. I just wanted to connect this microphone because I feel like it actually might work well. The last time that I used it, I feel like Okay, hopefully this is working for us. It's super duper late, so I'm just gonna go ahead and get right into it. You got your part one, Libra. We got our part one. Um, hope you enjoyed it. I made myself a pendulum today. Hi, I know this is so random. Let me see, who am I talking to? Who's here? It's so late here, you guys. It's maybe like 2 o'clock in the morning. It might be like 1:30. Anyway, I made a pendulum today, and I'm using one of the pieces that was made by Crystal Path Creations. And here it is, Denver. Okay, home of Evie Oddly. And this is the little handle that I made. So let's see. I'll ask it one question. It knows how to. Okay, I'm feeling gravity here. Hold on 1 second. Should I go with this shuffle of Libra? That's a yes. Okay, so I've already shuffled it. I am just going to cut it. This has been waiting since the part one, and I've just been so crazy busy that I haven't touched it. I've left it. Okay. So this is going to be your tarot reading, part two, for July, August 2019. Use each reading for whichever month you feel like it applies. Use both of them for each month. Do it how you please. I'm so tired, y'all. Okay, here we go. Bam. So that's it. At the bottom of the deck, you have the Four of Pentacles, and this is Sun and Capricorn. And this is kind of like trying to have it all or not willing to let go of something so that you can have something else. Or it might be controlling something because of an insecurity, right? And feeling like maybe you won't have that. It's kind of like some of you might be just kind of dealing with the consumption of something, or you might be dealing with authority. You might be dealing with your own authority, right? You might be dealing with how you're governing your own structures in life. You might be dealing with, a physical home and needing that or wanting that, right? Because the fours are related to Cancer and um, Aries, right? So Aries is the self. It's talking about, primary energy, what is the focus, right? Being the first sign. And then also, the fourth house, that's Cancer. That's the first water sign, so it's the introduction to something. So this is almost, maybe you're going to be introduced to someone that's going to help you uh, reset a new structure for yourself, whether that be a home or whether that be like something in terms of like, business, getting a business opportunity to work with somebody or just getting a gig on your own, something like that. The fours are related to, completions. So you might be getting that thing that you wish and that you want to have, that you might, if you put the effort towards it, you'll be able to get that thing that you want. You know what I mean? Because the fours are also talking about effort as well. And it's talking about nurturing an effort, right? It's like you have to nurture, an effort through motivation and vice versa. So this is talking about being able to identify with your purpose and what you really intend to make happen here, and really believe in that thing and actually put the time and the energy into it, because the time is related to Saturn, which is the ruler of Capricorn, and this is Sun in Capricorn, okay? And it's a force, so it's talking about also, just kind of being a little bit emotionally complacent about some things that you're not able to have, or maybe time maybe has slowed down your ability to have certain things, or maybe you just feel emotional about your inability to control what you are capable of having thus far, that type of thing. So then you might be afraid to make a move on something as well, right? Because the fours are talking about completion, and it's talking about being held in like one place a little bit. Because the fours are talking about something that kind of like is there and it doesn't move, right? So this could be like you yourself not moving. Maybe it's you choosing not to move, maybe feeling like you don't have the ability or the capability, right? Maybe you don't have the assets, maybe you don't have the the maybe that type of thing. It's like there's a blockage somewhere, and it has to do with you and something that you are doing or not doing that's creating the blockage for you. Like it's almost like you're not able to let go of one way of feeling about something, or let go of one way of doing something, right? It's almost like you're not going to let yourself let go of something that happened in the past that made something a reality for you now, and you focusing on that, because the fours are talking about focus, and the fourth house is talking about remembering things from the past and focusing on things, like, right, and not moving from that place. And it's kind of like it's getting in your way of everything that is uh, um, open to you, right? Because there's you're closed off from some things that actually wants to come towards you, and it's something that you want, right? Because the fours are related to the Emperor, talking about something that you want, and they're also talking, and it's also talking about something that you want that's going to bring you security. Okay, so if there's any kind of way that you have not been moving or haven't been budging on something that you need to do, or that you need to do, because the fours are also, that's the first house, so that's the recognition, that's the acknowledgement of something, right? Knowing that something needs to take place, and knowing that you are the one that is going to administrate that, or administer that, and you're going to govern this change that you would like to see happen. Because if you, the authority of yourself, doesn't implement the change, right? Or you don't put yourself in a position to allow it to happen, then it will not. Okay, so don't close your off. Don't close yourself off from the very thing which you desire, right? And that you need and you want. Because the pentacles are talking about necessities, right? And things that help us thrive in life, right? Meaningful things, things of substance, you know what I mean? So you might be thinking that one thing of substance might be the only thing that you have that's capable of being that way, right? Anyway, I'm gonna move on from this card at the bottom of the deck, because that's all I need to say about it. Okay? You might be overly committed to something, all right? Another pentacles in the center position, which is the five of pentacles. And before I get started on that, I just need to go get my bottle of water, okay? Just give me 2 seconds. Don't go anywhere, you guys. Okay, I'm sorry. When I do this, I have to drink water. Okay, so the Five of Pentacles, that's Mercury in Taurus. And this is you thinking about, some inconsistencies in the material things in your life, or the things that you feel like matter, right? Tangible things. You might be feeling like there's something missing. You might be feeling like there's also something that is just kind of like dampening your spirit a little bit. You might be feeling a little bit spiritually exhausted, perhaps, or you might just be physically tired because of where your worry. Your worry might be making you physically tired. You know what I mean? Because this is a Five of Pentacles, and this is, related to Taurus, right? And it's also related to the fifth house, which is Leo, and Leo is your spirit and your soul and your creativity. So because of your modest means right now, you may not be feeling as creative, right? You may not be feeling as driven, right? You may not be feeling as encouraged or motivated, right? Because the fives are related to the Hierophant, which is talking about motivation and encouragement through belief. You know what I mean? Like it's almost kind of like that tutelage, that pupil, right, and mentor. It's almost like you need someone to kind of like help point you in the right direction, right? And I feel like maybe you just aren't trying to, you just maybe not utilizing some channel of communication or some way to get this thing jumping off, right? Because the fives are talking about bringing life to something, because that's kind of like, the heartbeat of something, bringing something back to life. And usually the fives are related to bringing something back to life. And this retrograde is going to be, focused in Cancer, right? Energy for fourth house, and but it started in Leo, which is the fifth house, which is also a fixed sign related to Taurus. Okay, so there's some things that need to be reconsidered, right? Because maybe you left some things, or maybe we became stubborn in one way. You know what I mean? We were too rigid in being able to see that, maybe there is a way. You know what I mean? And you may have just convinced yourself, right? Because Mercury is definitely your mind, right? And five is the institution of your mind, right? And it's like you've convinced yourself, right, through this institutionalized, day to day belief. You've kind of been like preaching to yourself. Oh, it's always been like this. It's never going to get better. Every time I talk to this person, or every time I get myself involved in this situation to try to get this thing or to try to make this happen, it never happens. That type of energy. So I feel like you guys should just really understand where you might be getting in your own way. And where, because it's like to be in this energy is kind of like to get out of it too. You know what I mean? The moment you find yourself in this energy, you want to get out of it. So to just kind of like stay in that energy, you would be doing yourself a disservice. You would be making it more in long term, you know, uh, considerably, right? When we consider time, right? You'll be making it worse for yourself in a longer period of time than if you just kind of like got up, right, off of your comfort, okay, and put yourself out there, right, and stop thinking that things aren't going to work out because things are set up not to work out, right? We always think that because it's like so hard for anything to ever happen for some people always, you know what I mean? So you have to just kind of like realize that you don't want to bring yourself in that state of mind, right? Because this is definitely talking about a state of mind, and what you think it actually becomes something. You know what I mean? In a positive sense, it's kind of like if you believe that there is a way out, then there definitely is a way out. You just got to find it, right? And a way out of your head, or a way out of the circumstance, the circumstances, a way out of the state that your mind is in that is, influenced by the circumstances you find yourself in, right? And your environment as well. Some of you are thinking about your environment. You know what I mean? It could be like, the people that you are around. It could be like your church. It could be like your neighborhood. You know what I mean? Or it could be like an institution or an organization that you might be involved in that you don't have that much faith in anymore. Because like the Nine of Swords here is crossing you. This could also just kind of like be a group of friends, or it could even be like a family member type of situation. You know, maybe a family member needs some help, or maybe somebody needs some assistance somehow, and it might involve money. It might involve like time. You know what I mean? Because sometimes people are like, can I use your vehicle? That type of thing. You know what I mean? Anyway, that was just for a couple of people. But the challenge is the Nine of Swords, and that is Mars and Gemini. And like I just said, what you think, right? Okay, your thoughts, they manifest, okay? And this is talking about your thoughts manifesting, things not getting better because all you're thinking about is the roundabout of how things just haven't gotten better. You know what I mean? And then this is kind of like saying that you're challenging the influences, that you're worried about something. The nines are talking about going in. You're going in on your mind. You know what I mean? There's so much worry here. You know, there are many things that you're worried about, and it's almost like you need to get these things in order because it's Gemini, right? This card is Mars and Gemini. And Gemini is the third house, and that's the environment. So this is the environment of your mind is a little bit cluttered with a lot of things that you need to deal with, right? And it's talking about getting your head together and concentrating, right? Put some energy and some focus into concentrating on what really matters, right? Because the nines are talking about getting from one place to another. You could be going around in your head so much that you don't feel like you're coming up with any solutions, right? Because the nines are related to the ninth house, which is Sagittarius, which does like to discover things and come up with answers for itself. So you are seeking some answers for yourself, and you're driving yourself crazy trying to figure out what those answers are. When you need to just relax, you know what I mean, and stop worrying so much, and really become aware of what the goal is, right? And put some consideration into that. And that is going to lead you into making the right choices to kind of like delegate, right? It's going to help you delegate, all of the things that you have to cross off of your list in a more efficient way, right? You'll be more effective. You won't spend so much time worrying about what to do, right? About what you're worrying about. You'll be spending time thinking about how there's one less thing to worry about because you went ahead and like took care of something. You know what I mean? Right? Some of y'all need to relax. This is Libra Sun, Moon, and Rising, or if you have Sun in 7th house, or if you have Venus in Libra. Okay, so let's look at the sun placement. The sun is talking about, your vitality, like what keeps you going, what makes you believe in yourself. You know what I mean? What's the purpose? What makes you do the things that you do? What do you enjoy, right, out of life? How do you identify with like those moments of romance in your life that may not involve another person, but you feel the romance of life? That's the five. That's the fifth house. You know what I mean? Huh. Y'all better go somewhere. The romance of life, honey. What am I talking about? Look, Two of Cups. Okay, in the sun position. This is Venus in Cancer. That's where she is right now, right? Unless if she's not in Gemini anymore, she's definitely in Cancer. Okay, and if she's not there, she's going to be getting there sometime soon. This is talking about reflection. This is talking about the overview of feelings, right? It's also talking about things being revealed to you about yourself through other people, right? So, this could also be talking about, some emotional, like, seesaw, ups and downs, right? In and out, right? Because it's like it's given, it's a given, it's a take too. So there might be some like how do you say, mixed feelings about something right now for some of you. Some of you could really be considering, what the possibilities are or what could actually become of something with someone. Some of you might be visualizing having a relationship with someone, or you might just be, considering what that means for you right now. Venus rules relationships and pleasures and things that are enjoyable. And Cancer is talking about, feelings and understanding that, I have feelings, right? So I feel like some of you guys need to really consider someone else's feelings and is to be. And this is talking about the consideration of feelings. I don't think that you need to do that. I feel like you are doing that, and that's why it's in the sun position. Um, Gemini, Aquarius, definitely Libra, Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio. I'm just gonna say those, right? Yeah. All right. So let me go ahead and look at the moon position here. Wheel of Fortune, work, bitch. Okay, this is cute. Now, Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, Jupiter, right, which is the planet that represents the Wheel of Fortune energy, is Sagittarius, right? And that's where it is now. It's in its rulership, so it's very strong there. So there could be many opportunities of love here, right, for lots of you. And that's why I say many opportunities, because this could just be something for you. And that's their third house, which is ruled by Gemini. Third house for Libra is Sagittarius, right? Which is so funny. It's the very opposite. But this is talking about, you know, being able to go with the flow of things, because something might be coming in really fast and you might be emotionally overwhelmed by it. You know what I mean? Just take that energy that you might be feeling, that it is all over the place, that is unfocused perhaps, and I feel like you should give your body the rest that it needs to, because the moon is talking about the body, and it's talking about cycles, and it's talking about the quick phases of cycles that we put ourselves through and our bodies through on a regular basis, and how sometimes those things can really burn ourselves out. And some of us are emotionally burned out, right? With some things, with the situations, with, like, just the epic journeys that we've been taken through by life. You know what I mean? Um, I feel like a lot of us are appreciative of where it's brought us to, because this is the Wheel of Fortune, and we are talking about Sagittarius energy and getting from one place to another and going the distance and really having the endurance. So some of us are really being, because we have endured a lot emotionally, we have the emotional endurance. You know what I mean? We now have the encouragement to want to go further, right, for ourselves. And the moon, right, is very influential this month, especially on our energy, because it's going to be in two houses that squares our energy: Cancer and Capricorn, which are the north and south nodes right now. And whenever, the Cancer, or whenever the cardinal sign axes are sort of like activated, then that affects the other cardinal signs as well. I have a Cancer moon. So, this eclipse is really kind of like uncovering some things for me, and I know that a lot of those things are very mysterious right now, right? And there is some mystery here, because we do have the Two of Cups in our sun position, right? So we are aware that there are some things to be revealed, and we are aware that there are some things that we don't know yet, that we have yet to figure out. You know what I mean? Some of you could be like dreaming about something, someone, that a person. Maybe not a specific person, could just be like the energy of a person. Um, yes. Now let me continue to move on. The Wheel of Fortune is talking about completions, right? So this is a goal that's being met. And Cancer is the place that rules the moon, and that's where, like, the new moon solar eclipse was in your 10th house, our 10th house of career success, how we govern our lives, how we have, built ourselves up and made ourselves to be something. The 10th house is ruled by Capricorn. We have that energy here with the Four of Pentacles, right? Okay, for sure. We definitely do. Um, yes. So definitely, the 10th house is being lit up. Jupiter and Sagittarius might have a little, might, be throwing something into the mix. Your third house is Sagittarius, and that full moon that we had in Gemini season was at about 26, 27 degrees of Sagittarius, okay, in your third house, okay, and that's ruled by, that's ruled by Mercury. We're having that retrograde right now? What's going on with communication? What's going on with what you're talking about? What is the information that you're downloading? What are you pulling in from the universe that's telling you and giving you the answers to the questions that you have from this card right here about the things that have been making you feel like this, right? Feeling kind of stuck and not really knowing where to go within all of this. But you're gonna come up with some answers. In the past, you had to walk away from something, right? You had to, in your mind, right? Your mind, you had to let go of something. You had to make some sacrifices, right? You had to surrender to some of the things that you had no control over, right? You had to acknowledge maybe like a weak point in a relationship, or you had to acknowledge a weak point in a love, right? In a love scenario or in a situation that involved a lot of feelings, right? With a person that might have been a water sign, they could have been a moon water sign, right? Or they could have had like sun or moon in eighth house, something like that. You know what I mean? In their birth chart, if you know somebody's birth chart, this is Saturn and Pisces. It's talking about, you spent some time in a place and you had to really highly consider, motivating yourself to walk away from it. You know what I mean? And there was there was still some love here and there was some passion, but you know that there were some things there that were toxic and there were some things that were hidden. There were some things that were very confusing. There were misunderstandings. You know what I mean? And it was like you had to do this for yourself to assert your own level of power, right? Because you may have been tested. Your vulnerabilities might have been tested by an energy that might have been more powerful than you would have liked it to be. You know what I mean? Karmically, but that's what Saturn does. Saturn really shows us things that we never would have imagined, right, Pisces? Of learning or having to go through, right? But it really is proving to yourself, what you're made of, right? And it's talking about cycles. And this is a full moon here. And it's talking about completion, definitely. Okay? In the past. So there was some things that completed for sure that had to do with like feelings and emotions and relationships, things like that, for sure. Maybe some toxic relationships, like I said before. There might have been a very deep spiritual connection, but what was that deep spiritual connection really surrounded by? What were the influences of that deep spiritual connection? Were they positive influences or were they things that were traumatic? Because you can have a deep spiritual connection to somebody that you have trauma with, right? Because you had to really transform from that trauma. Transformation, eighth house. This is Eight of Cups, right? It's related to the Strength card as well. Okay, so it has some fixed energy. Not wanting to take the focus off of something that you had been focused on for a while. You know what I mean? Not feeling weakened by not having that thing, even though it wasn't providing or giving anything positive back to you. You know what I mean? You just would have been without it and you would have just felt like you were missing some part of yourself. But really, you were yourself before that. So you had to just remember who you were, really. And you had to come out of the disillusion that you may have not been good enough for something. And then you had to just kind of like move on. Like by moving on, you proved to yourself that you were good enough. So you didn't have to go to anything to say, oh, I'm good enough for this thing now because I don't have that. You were good enough to move on. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's the Eight of Cups. You definitely have to leave something in the past. So now let's look at the anxieties, darling. Ace of Cups, you have anxieties about, possibilities of new love. Why, darling? You shouldn't. Look at your sun position. Look at what you got. Two of Cups, right? That's related to the High Priestess. You know what I mean? The High Priestess is sensitive. Okay, she's intuitive, right? I feel like that's what you're doing now. You're sort of like getting back to that place of feeling more balanced emotionally, right? But you still have those fears about the introduction of love in a new way, right? Because it's almost like walking away from something, right? That you probably had to spend a lot of time from, right? Look at this. This is being closed off. You know what I mean? If this is Capricorn, this is Sun in Capricorn. And then in the Sun position, you got Cancer. The sun in Cancer, the moon is going to be in Capricorn. The moon was in Cancer, and the Ace of Cups is representative of Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio. You might have been dealing with a water sign, or you might just have anxieties about, being able to feel the way that you felt before about something, or just being able to feel, period. You know what I mean? Because whatever you walked away from definitely had an effect on you, because it's an 8, it's Pisces, it's feeling like very vulnerable, sacrificed, right? Leaving one reality and going into the next, for sure, right? And this is a new reality. This is potent energy. This is a new feeling, right? This is cleansing as well, right? Purification, right? This is also having anxieties about, a new beginning that doesn't involve someone else in your life, cleansing that energy out. This could even just be like needing to flush out your mind from the emotional toxicity that your other past relationships caused here, right? With this energy. Saturn making it really difficult, right? To look past some of the difficulties, although you have, what I mean, I feel like it has happened, but because time is an issue here, or time is involved here. The first card that we pulled up from the bottom of the deck is Sun in Capricorn. That's time. You know what I mean? So it's like it really is time for you to open up again, right? Because like look, bam, here, you definitely want to be able to receive this, right? That's including me, darling. Closed off, definitely. Have been, kind of. Been in some worry, of course. But who doesn't worry if you have a brain? It's almost like some of you are also using social media as a crutch, right? Because this is social media. Putting energy into something that isn't going anywhere. Sometimes. You know what I mean? Instead of putting energy into something that's going to take you out of this spot. In your Mars position, child, y'all must have put a stop to something. You got Sun in Gemini right here. You dealing with a Gemini person? What's going on there? This is saying that something has ended. This is the ruin of something. You put a stop to something, or you said, okay, something's over, or you took an opportunity to let something end, or you took an opportunity to put a stop to something, right? Because these tens are talking about, risk, right? This is a risk in the ending, or you acknowledging that something has ended feels risky to you, perhaps. Or maybe you did something that was risky to end something. You know what I mean? You could probably even be feeling like someone else did this to you and they took a risk by ending something, perhaps with you. Or maybe you don't want to risk, you know, um, encountering someone, perhaps, right? Because with Jupiter, things just kind of like happen or show up sometimes, because Jupiter is a planet of luck, and sometimes luck could also just be chance, chance happenings, right? Also, this is saying that because it's Sun in Gemini, this is saying that you've got to be a little bit more playful and a little bit more social. Put an ending to the destructive uh, notion that you don't feel good enough to have a good time, or you know what I mean. It's kind of like get rid of the mind fuck, right? That because some things have ended for you, right? You got the Eight of Cups here and you got the Ten of Cups, that you can't start over, or that you can't enjoy life again, right? Right. Because if this is in the Mars position, and this is saying that this isn't really the reality here, because you're coming out of this reality just as soon as you experience it. You see what I mean? And that's why he's doing this. Because this is a symbol that says what you see is not all there is. You're not going to be in this energy forever. right? It's definitely a new beginning. And you do have an Ace of Cups here. So, stop putting energy into, just trying to figure out reasons why something may have ended. Or maybe that thing probably got you to the place of feeling like this, right? The tens are also related to the 10th house, which is Capricorn, but for us it's Cancer, right? So there might have been a situation that we felt comfortable or secure with that ended, right? We just need to deal with that. Many things, many things. Could deal with people, places, and things, guys and gals. Maybe this is Mars, okay, and this is a 10. And since the 10th house is Capricorn and Mars is exalted in Capricorn, this energy is, this card in this position is really saying that realize, yes, put the focus and the energy into realizing that something definitely really is yes over, right? Even in your head, you may not have even ended that thing yet, some of you guys, but you know in your head that it's over. And it might deal with a job, right? Because this is talking about 10th house stuff, and 10th house rules, it's talking about your job and your career, right? Probably the person that you work for, the boss that you work for, the company that you work for, your own company, right? Some of you could be dealing with working from home, right? Because our 10th house is Cancer. So some of us could do a lot of things at home involving work. Whew, honey. In your Venus position, wow, the world, another one that ruled that's talking about completion. Saturn. Saturn in the Venus placement. Well, it's related to Venus because it's a 21. It's 21 and that's a 3. That's talking about graduation. That's talking about, something being born again, right? Like I said, here you got the Ace of Cups and you got the World. So you don't really need to be worried about, this Ace of Cups coming in or being approached or being prompted by this energy of the Ace of Cups at some point in the future. You know what I mean? Because you have the world here. So this is saying that something is solid in terms of relationship. The completion of a relationship is definitely what has been ordained karmically, right? And you have taken this whole span of events and this whole you know, ep- epic, right? Drama. Some of you, this has been school, and you finished school and you're so glad about that because this talks about graduation. This talks about finishing something. Toxic. Maybe there, maybe something ended that was toxic, right? This talks about getting something that you deserve. And this could be talking about having that relationship that you deserve, having that job, that career that you feel like you deserve to experience. It's not like you don't have that career. It's just how do I feel like I deserve to experience this career that I have chosen, right? Because you govern your life and you also govern your relationships to some extent. That's why Saturn is exalted in Libra. You know what I mean? Because you choose to be there if you want to be there, and you choose to not be there, and you set the guidelines and the boundaries for what you're willing to accept and what you're not willing to accept. So you have to understand that as well. You have to set the environment, set the tone for what it is going to be like and what you would like someone to identify, or how you would like someone to identify with your needs, because this is talking about needs getting met as well, because it is a 3. So you probably have met the needs of something, and that's why you can get off of feeling like this, like you can't move, and actually take advantage of an opportunity that's going to actually be, very pivotal and important, right, to your evolution, right? Because this is a moon position here. This could even talk about a lot of secrets for some people. You're just worried about somebody maybe having a lot of secrets that you probably left in the past, and you don't think that anything can be like repaired because of that. You might even be thinking that there's other stuff that's going to come up, you know what I mean? Because this is just, things growing and growing and growing, and it's in the moon position, right? So it's feeling uncomfortable and insecure about things getting worse or getting bigger or finding out more hidden things coming to the surface, you know what I mean? What's happened? What's been happening? What are all the things? But you don't need to worry about that. You need to focus on you. And that's what the world is talking about as well. Focus on you. Because the world is actually talking about your physical person, your physical body. You know what I mean? Somebody is going to, for people who are thinking about relationships, because this has Two of Cups in the Sun position. And in the past, it has Eight of Cups. And in the anxieties, it has Ace of Cups. Right? I'm just saying. But in the world position is talking about taking all of those different things and making them meaningful for you. You know what I mean? It's like celebrating and embracing what your karmic cycles and what your karmic teachings have informed you of right now in your life. That's going to get you to the next stage, right? So that you can begin again, so that you can learn the next set of lessons that were meant for you to learn in the next phase, because there's other stuff that you haven't learned yet, because you had to get past all of these different stages. If for y'all out there who know Super Mario Brothers, right? We weren't on Fortnite and all that. I've never even seen Fortnite. But Super Mario Bros., you had to get through all the different levels. There were levels that you never got to, that other people got to, right? Because they put in the work and the effort and they finally got there, right? So it's kind of like that. Things being hard at times, but you really making it through. Maybe even feeling exhausted, right? You still got to do stuff. It's in your Mars position, but you just probably feel so exhausted sometimes, right? Mentally exhausted too, right? You may have stopped talking to somebody, cut ties, right? Social media. Some of you guys may have blocked some people on social media or unfriended. Those are two different things I was told, I guess. You know, um, God bless. So let's look at your future cards, darling, my loves. In the outcome, you got the Hierophant. So this is talking about, a new institution, a new commitment. This is a new belief in something, right? You have a new belief. You have a firm belief in something, right? And this could be talking about you and your beliefs about yourself, because it's a five, but it's also related to, obviously it's a Taurus card. Fellow Venetian, Venus ruled, the Hierophant. And this just talks about, you having your own set of beliefs as well, and being able to question your other people's beliefs, not letting your partner or not letting other people or your job just make you go in one direction or believe whatever the status quo is, like things have always been done this way. You know what I mean? You can definitely things don't always have to be done the same way all the time. And this does talk about being able to ask questions. You know what I mean? It's like you are your greatest teacher as well. It talks about listening to your inner voice, listening to your own inner teacher. You know what I mean, right? Which is spirit, right? Your soul, right? Because it's very spiritual and soulful energy in this card here, right? It is talking about religion, but it's also talking about practices, right? Ritualistic things that come into form, right? Things that allow us to understand, you know, the value of something, right? Um, um, quality, the quality of life as well. You know what I mean? This is talking about quality of life. You might be wanting, there might be a better quality of life for you in the future. You know what I mean? There might be somebody that's going to help you unlock whatever it is that you feel like you need to unlock to get you out of this Five of Pentacles energy crossed by this Nine of Swords, right? Because you feel kind of stuck, right? And like you don't know if there's anywhere for you to go, right? You probably don't even feel safe to move, right? Because you don't know if it's gonna even like be be there for you. You don't know if something is going to be receptive, right? So you might not even be being receptive to that thing because you feel like it's not going to be receptive to you. I'm just getting that. And this Hierophant, Taurus is talking about comfort levels, it's talking about security, it's talking about being able to provide for yourself as well, definitely. You know what I mean? You might even be making more money, right? With this world here being in the Venus position, and Venus is talking about your money, right? And the things that you get out of, the pleasures that you get out of life, and pleasures cost money, right? Your future, the Fool. This is kind of fierce in connection to the last reading you got, Libra. We got the Fool. That's Uranus, right? That's also, esoterically the ruler of Libra. Okay, because this is talking about achieving balance again, right? Recalibration. Because for a scale to be at zero, that means that it is balanced, right? Okay, because the zero is saying that possibility, it's open, right? It's faith. It's really not even it's not giving a damn about what other people think about you as well, because you are setting out on your journey. You're very optimistic, okay? I feel like you're feeling good. You're going to be feeling better again. You're just going to be feeling good. It's almost like to get the Fool after you have this right here, because this is a lot of cares. I have a lot of shit to think about. I have a lot of stuff that I'm worried about. You know what I mean? Weighted in the mind and just feeling heavy and tired. You know what I mean? And this is saying, I'm not tired. I feel light as day, right? I can breathe again. I feel like I have space. I don't feel restrained. I don't feel constricted, right? I don't feel like I'm being held back. This energy right here is very different than this. This is the future, honey, and this is the past. Feeling regretful about leaving something, right? Letting something go, making a sacrifice, right? Surrendering to something, right? Feeling victimized by something, therefore having to choose to leave, having to exercise power, but it meant sacrificing something, right? Having to prove your dignity to yourself, right? Show yourself how strong you were. Maybe you were just being proven to by the universe, because it is Saturn and Pisces. It is talking about being karmically taught that lesson, right? And then this is the person after they have left that which they were still trying to, you know, put energy and effort into, force themselves to stay emotionally attached. You know what I mean? This is them now. Wow, I feel so carefree. I'm not held down by those heavy cups that didn't have anything with them. They were all dried up, right? Okay. The full is wonderful. That's God. And this is also animals. You guys might be wanting to get a pet in the future, right? This is also just being more playful, doing things differently. You know what I mean? And that's what I was talking about here, when it maybe something didn't work in the past, and now it's time to feel optimistic about it again and give it another shot. You know what I mean? You got the Hierophant here, you got the World here, you got the Ace of Cups here, you got the Wheel of Fortune here, the Fool. Now, this relationship stuff, I'm not saying give that another shot, but if you guys are in a position where you feel like that's what you are doing, then that's probably, you know your story. Okay, I'm a Libra, and it's not saying that for me. It's just talking about some other stuff, right? Related to fourth house, right? Capricorn and 10th house stuff. Specifically for me, but for y'all got some relationship stuff over here, because y'all got two of cups. Now, I just don't know what's coming to me. Ooh, boy, it's late. Damn. King of Cups at the top. Fixed water. Scorpio. Someone who understands feelings. Someone who has depth of feelings. To be able to understand many different, you know, the many different sizes, colors, flavors, smells, you know. hues, notes of our emotions. All of those cues. You know what I mean? Somebody who has experienced a lot of different things so they don't get emotionally triggered as easily. But this is someone that knows how to control emotions or likes to be in control of their emotions. Ooh, honey. But this is also 1/3 Libra, which is you, right? Because this is Scorpio and it's also 1/3 of the sign before it, okay? So this is Libra as well. So this is Libra definitely having a new perspective on emotions or their own emotions and their feelings, right? Owning up to your feelings, right? Being in control and being in power of your own emotions, right? Um, Definitely talking about transforming and setting a new tone for yourself, you know, cleansing yourself spiritually, allowing something to um, come in and go out, move on, allowing it to flow, realizing that letting something flow, letting the energy flow is going to allow you to heal. So don't hold on to that emotion that you feel like, you know, is keeping you held back because you know it deep down that it is. If you're dealing with the King of Cups, Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio, so definitely be you here. You know, like I said, it's 1/3 of Libra because it's 1/3 of the sign before it. And a lot of this stuff could be making sense for you guys in the fall when this card is direct again and it moves forward into Capricorn, perhaps, which is your fourth house, right? Which is where we have Saturn and Pluto is going to be there conjunct, and Jupiter's going to be there as well. So there's going to be some major, you know, transformations of some karmic cycles and some structures that change and some new foundations and some new stabilities that come into your life, you know, and it might have something to do with your career and how you are, you know, changing your life and transforming and, you know, changing the way that you've governed your life thus far, you know, the people, everything, you know, you just feel a newfound, you know, um, glory or a new, not even glory, but a newfound, like, respect for life. Yeah. Appreciation for life. We're working on it. Okay, this was your part two, Libra. I love you guys. Comment there. You know, I'm doing the 20 for 20 special. Email providencetarotkendrick at gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram. I'm Providence Tarot Kendrick. I'm also NYC Kendrick. That's my main account. Kendrick NYC and the Tongue Pop. Okay? I read at Shanti Shanti Bookshop and Crystal Gallery on Sundays from 12 to 5. The address is 230 East 14th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenues. That's in Union Square, in the East Village area, actually, near NYU. Okay? Thanks, everybody. I'll talk to you guys soon.